before the spring.
Perfect. Thanks. That's all I need.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. We will. Anything further on the minutes with regard to business arising from the minutes? Okay. Sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I just have a question about the transit there, Ward 3. If we've made a decision on that, whether to continue the programming. I believe it was supposed to end in December. So was there an extension on that? Maybe Jeremy might have an update.
Yeah, we had a discussion about that at committee of the whole meeting, I believe, and we decided that the program would end at this point. We're looking at discussions with the province with the rural transit initiative that they're doing, whether or not there might be an opportunity for us to go in through those areas that are not serviced at this point with some of those buses. Those discussions are still ongoing, but because we had such a there's a lack of uptake in the actual pilot program, we decided to discontinue it at this time. And like I said, we're gonna have some discussions with the province to see if the rural transit bus route can go through there. But we haven't had those discussions at this time yet.
Thank you, Jim.
I think one aspect to this that is really important is the fact that we're trying to do this in the middle of a pandemic, and I don't really think it's fair to the residents of Ward 3 to evaluate it during this time period anyway. I think we need to bring it forward whenever we're back into as close to normal as possible to really give it a fair chance. So I would expect that we would be looking at bringing this back, in the next and trying it again, maybe with a different model, or maybe with the tying into the rural transit system, as I guess our chief administrative officer mentioned. So we'll be looking at that in the future as well. But I think for the time being, there has been no uptake, so I don't think it's a good use of taxpayers' money right now. That's my understanding, and that's, I think, the recommendation of the. Has it been discussed at the Safety Services Committee, Councillor Smith?
The transit system has always been on our radar, but we just haven't found the right solution to it yet. I've been 3 years trying to get something done, and we had programs in place and talked and discussed, but we just not getting the public input onto it. And there's an answer out there, but we just haven't found it yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just add to what Mayor Ogden was speaking about. We did talk to the transit provider, and he indicated that because of COVID-19 and the struggles with the transit routes right now, that probably did weigh in on the actual decision for people to try out the pilot program. So I agree, it would be a better time to revisit it in the near future once we hopefully get out of this issue with the pandemic. So we'll definitely keep that under consideration.
Okay.
I think that's a great move, Steve and Jeremy and Derek. I think we got to go back and look at it. Gary and I agree as representatives of Ward 3 councillors, and like we said, we tried it, and with the pandemic and everything else and everything included there, it's pretty hard. So we're gonna back. I know Steve mentioned tonight we're gonna go back and revisit this when everything starts up and come back to normal, hopefully.
Yep.
May I interrupt for a moment, Your Worship?
Sure.
Deputy Mayor Clow needs back in. He got bumped out, and he's just waiting for someone to allow him to come back in.
Okay, I'll just wait till we get the go ahead from Deputy Mayor Clow. So we'll just maybe take a couple of minutes while Deputy Mayor Clow is trying to get back in.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, you're back in? Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so now we'll move on to, if there's no other business arising from the minutes, is there anything else that anyone wanted to discuss about the minutes or follow up on from the minutes? Okay, if not, I'll ask our Chief Administrative Officer if there are any presentations from the floor.
No, there are not.
Okay. Next report is my report. It's in your package. Couple of highlights. I guess there's one thing that's not in there, and that is yesterday, Councillor Burridge and myself participated in the presentation or I guess consultation for the provincial operational budget. It was very interesting. We did get a chance to have a brief discussion about some of Stratford's perspectives and points of view, and I think we did commit to putting together a written submission, which is due by the 24th of January. So we hope that we can build on the work that's already been done on that presentation, so that we'll be able to really put our best foot forward with regard to really letting the province know about how we can help them with regard to some of the files that they're wrestling with, and some of the things that they can help us with at the same time. So that's basically one of the big things, I guess, that we're looking forward to is that discussion with the province. Once we give the written submission, we'd still like to have a further discussion with provincial officials. We still been having meetings about the 2023 Canada Games and Stratford's participation. We think we're close to agreeing on an approach, and hopefully at the next meeting we'll be able to announce our how we're going to be participating. The presentation by consultants about the possible options for getting fundraising done for a new recreational complex, including a rink. That was quite interesting. I thank Jeremy Pierce, for Director of Recreation, for arranging that. There's I guess one of the big things was the honor of presenting Stratford resident Ken McDonald with a framed recognition certificate to mark his 90th birthday. I think that was one of the highlights of the month. I really, he used to be our town crier. He's an excellent resident of Stratford, and really wish him all the best. The motorcade was really well attended. It was amazing the number of people that were out to wave, and for the kids. It turned into neighborhood get-together. Some people said that they hadn't gotten together since the summer, and it was an opportunity to reacquaint themselves with their neighbors while they were viewing the motorcade. Really a lot of thanks to the RCMP, T3 Transit, the Crossroads Fire Department, and Island EMS who took part, who really were the main part of the Christmas motorcade, and thank Deputy Mayor Clough, Councillor Smith and Gallant for their participation as well. We presented along with Councillor Burridge and Upland Consulting. The concept plan for the new community campus was presented. Invite residents to look at it. It's available through our website. I think it was a really good presentation. I think it's a really exciting design, and opens up a lot of opportunities, a lot of real possibilities there. So really looking forward to seeing that develop further. And one of the big highlights, I guess, too, was a priority setting exercise that will help guide budget priorities for the upcoming year and for the longer term, where council and managers got together and looked at what are the possibilities of things that we could work on, and what are the highest priorities. And I think coming out of that, we had a pretty good consensus around the things that are that we're going to be concentrating on over the next year and beyond. And the two new Stratford businesses, Leading Edge Group and Harborside Engineering, both world-class companies. Really was impressed with the accomplishments and the it's really great to have those two businesses in the community. So I was really pleased to present welcome gifts to those two businesses. And of course, as everyone knows, we bid farewell to Robert Hughes, who was the CAO of our town for more than 22 years, who retired on Christmas Eve. Really grateful to Robert for all his contributions, and look forward to working with our new Chief Administrative Officer, who is with us tonight, and we will be voting on a resolution to formally appoint him. Welcome, Jeremy Crosby. I'm sorry. Yeah, so that's my report. Any questions on my report? Okay, if not, we'll move to again, welcome to our new administrative officer, Jeremy Crosby, and I'll ask him for his report.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. The report is in your package, and I highlighted some of the things that I was working on. There's a lot of meetings, and it was a busy December. But some of the highlights were the 2022 budget. The team is working hard to get that ready, and we do have a meeting tomorrow to go through our first draft and look at the forecast numbers. Working with the Capital Area Transit Committee regarding potential changes to the current agreement, because we are going to be with the electrification of the system, there's going to be a new transit depot that's required for that, and we have to have some changes to the contract associated with that. And with that contract being open, we're going to look at some other, if there's any other contemplated changes at this time. And yeah, there was all kinds of other business that I attended to, but if there's any questions with regard to what's in my report, I'll more than happy to answer them.
Okay, if there's no questions, thank you very much for your report, Jeremy.
Thank you.
We'll now move on to human resources, and I believe the Deputy Mayor Clow has a resolution to bring forward.
Thank you, Your Worship. Gives me great pleasure to present this resolution to you. And I'll read the resolution, and then I'll have a couple comments. The Town of Stratford Resolution Number HR 001-2022, Appointment of Chief Administration Officer. Whereas Section 5.1 of the Town of Stratford Bylaw Number 53, the bylaw, and the Section 86(2), Section 3 of the Municipal Government Act, RSPEI 1988 Cap M-12-1, authorize a council to appoint by resolution a person to the position of Chief Administration Officer, CAO. And whereas the Town of Stratford, the town, wishes to appoint a new CAO following the retirement of its previous CAO. And whereas Section 5.5 of the bylaw requires the town to enter into a written employment agreement with the successful candidate on terms and conditions acceptable to the council prior to appointing a CAO. And therefore be it resolved that the mayor and deputy mayor on behalf of the town be authorized to enter into and sign an employment agreement with Jeremy Crosby on the terms and conditions agreed upon by the parties, and to affix the corporate seal of the town thereto. Be it further resolved that Jeremy Crosby be hereby is appointed as the Chief Administration Officer of the Town of Stratford, effective upon the execution of the employment agreement immediately following this meeting. Be it further resolved that the town reimbursed Mr. Crosby for the legal fees he incurred in connection with the review of his employment agreement. This resolution bears the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole based on a meeting held on January 6, 2022. So moved.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you, Deputy Mayor Clow. I'd like to ask if the Vice Chair of the Human Resources Committee would like to second this motion.
Yes, I'd be happy to, Your Worship. I second the motion.
Thank you.
I would
Okay,
just
any
like to-
discussion? Yeah, go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
I'd just like to let people know the process, a little bit of the process that we went through for the hiring. I know it was quite interesting for myself, and I know the rest of council and yourself, that sometime in October, we hired a HR consultant to start the process of hiring a new CAO. The CAO's position was advertised across Canada through several job search sites and including local media. We did receive several applications for the job right across Canada. And after processing the applications, we did develop a short list. We then proceeded with the interviews, both in person and by Zoom. After the interviews were concluded, I'm happy to say that Jeremy Crosby came out on top. So I want to congratulate you, Jeremy. I always say if you want something bad enough, you need to go out and earn it. And that is exactly what Jeremy did here. You've proven yourself time and time again. I'm here 19 years, you're here 18 years. So I've been here 18 years with you, and I witnessed that. So I can't see any better person for the position of CAO. And congratulations, Jeremy. Thank you, Your Worship.
Deputy Mayor, I really like to thank you for your kind words. I'd also like to thank the rest of council and the mayor for their decision. I'm looking forward to working with council, staff, and residents to continue the success of this great town. And we have a lot of exciting projects on the books, and I'm looking forward to working with the team to get those done. So again, appreciate your comments. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I also would like to congratulate Jeremy Crosby on his appointment, but also like to thank the applicants who sent their resumes in. They're listening tonight. It was appreciated. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Well, I'd also like to say that I'm really pleased that we have such a highly qualified new CAO. I think Mr. Crosby has an excellent resume. He's got a solid track record. He's of achievement, and I look forward to his sharing his vision and moving forward to get a lot of things done with him into the future. So, so my congratulations to Jeremy as well, and thanks and good wishes for the future, because I think it'll be a great experience to see all that he brings to the table and all that he can do for the town. So with that, I will call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so anybody against? Yeah, I guess we wouldn't want that, Jeremy?
Good to have you
Motion-
unanimous on this one.
Motion carried.
Got to get started off the right foot.
There we go. Thanks a lot, and congratulations, Jeremy, and thanks for agreeing to take on this role. It's a big responsibility, but you'll do great at it. So thank you very much.
Oh, thanks
Congrats,
again.
Jeremy.
Go ahead.
Congrats, Jeremy.
Oh, thank you very much, and I'm really looking forward to my next chapter in my life here at the town of Stratford. It's been here for 17 years, and I'm looking forward to the next probably 10 that I'm going to be here for.
Great. Okay, we'll move on now to safety services. I'll ask Chair of Safety Services, Councillor Smith, to give his report.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Before I start my report tonight, I'll just make a few comments here. In regards to the Santa parade that we had on the 10th of December, I want to thank...
Just don't want to interrupt you there for a moment, but I think we, oh, sorry, no. Carry on. I missed something there. Go ahead.
Okay. Special thanks to the Crossroads Fire Department for all their fire engines being out, the RCMP, EMS, Transit, plus the town staff and all others who had helped out during this process. The council especially wants to thank all the parents and children for standing out there in the cold and waiting for us to go by. It's muchly appreciated to see everybody and waving. And of course, a big thanks to Santa Claus. I understand that he was in the back of the fire truck and drew a lot of attention. So thank you very much, Santa, if you're listening tonight. All right, let's move on. There was no meeting for December for the safety services. The meeting will be held next Monday, and so there's nothing to report on that end. Streetlight report, I don't believe we have anything for this meeting, but there is some streetlights request for the safety services meeting next Monday. So that will be on the next month. Move on to 10C, the Rcmp report. The numbers and the graphs are in everybody's packages. I'm sure you had them to look over. I just want to point out a few things tonight that were not reported. The Rcmp now have a drug testing machine, like a breathalyzer, at their disposal. They are now getting trained on that and will be using that to detect the use of drugs in somebody's system when they're driving. The clerk for our office is still in progress. He's in training at Maypoint, but the office is being staffed with Maypoint clerks from time to time. And of course, the Rcmp officers are also there to help people out. We've had a new unit formed in PEI. This is the Crime Reduction Unit. I'm sorry to say that 2 of our Stratford members have been transferred over to that new unit. This unit, it covers off of all of Queens County, which includes Stratford. So they will be working in the Stratford area. And I'm happy to say that we have 2 new officers who have moved into the Stratford office. All right. Number 4, the checks for people staying at home during the coronavirus. Because of the large numbers, the Rcmp are checking on the international people, people from outside of the country who have arrived here in Stratford, and they are checking on those people only. And the Omicron contact, the Rcmp are very careful about who they talk to. So the number of traffic stops and or personal contact is cut way back because of this virus is so easily caught. We don't want our membership caught with that stuff. So yes, they are stopping vehicles. Yes, they are talking to people when needed, but the general conversation is lower this month. And the last thing I want to thank the Rcmp for, and this is a bit of PR on their part, during the Santa Claus parade, we've had a number of officers who would block off intersections before the parades got there. And before we got there, the Rcmp officers apparently were dancing for the young people and the parents and getting them all dancing and all happy and excited about Santa Claus coming. So it's little things like that that the police have done for this community, and I want to personally thank them for that. It's a good PR for them. Thank you very much. And that is it. We can go over the numbers. If you have any numbers, we can talk about those. I think Michael Lightly is online. He can answer any questions that we have.
Yeah. With the new drug machine, Councillor Smith and Corporal Lightly can answer it. Is that going to be in our building?
Okay, I'll wait for Michael to come online.
Just
good evening, everyone. Yeah, so we did get a new drug recognition machine in Queens County. Unfortunately, it's we don't have a whole lot of people trained on it at this point, so we're looking at getting some training. And once again, because of the pandemic, things have been really hard to do anything in person right now. But we're hoping within the next several weeks, couple months, depending on everything, that we're going to get some members trained up in both Queens County and hopefully here in Stratford as well, so we can utilize that new machine. We still have other, obviously, means of detecting drugs. We have drug recognition experts in the division as well, and other means of investigations that we can still do that in the meantime, however.
Okay. And we're saying we obtained 2 more officers, 2 new officers. You know their names, Corporal, or you probably know them.
So the new crime reduction unit that Councillor Smith was just talking about, it's a
Yeah.
two-man unit. It's going to be supervised out of Maypoint office. There was a big competition for this. Lots of people in the division were applying for it, and two members from Stratford were the successful candidates. So Cindy Bowering and Kevin Cormier were both selected for this new position, and
Yep.
they were replaced by two members to the Maypoint office, who actually both their first shifts were today here. It's Constable Bryce Haight, who's an Islander. He's about 15 years service with the RCMP. And Constable Alex Cabana is the other member, also from the Maypoint office. Alex has about 6 years service with the RCMP right now.
Oh, thank you very much.
I just have a quick question on this report in front of us. I just noticed it, and it's just a clarification, and it might be just the way it reads. In the right under the title there on the statistics, crime rates by calendar year, it says crime rates based on, crime rates based on, there we go. Crime rates based on population, the town of Stratford, 2016 census data. It almost looks like, so these stats in here are actual Stratford occurrences. It's not a prorated by population account, is it?
No, this is based on statistics from the town of Stratford only.
Okay. It's just the way that reads, it almost looks like it's prorated by population or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that just the date of the 2016 just wasn't updated as well, because I think we originally had 5 years, maybe 6 years, and we were asked to reduce it to the last 3 years because it was just showing us too much. So maybe the title just hasn't been updated, and you're right, I'm not 100% sure why it's saying census data there, but
yeah. It's kind of funny. Anyway, I just thought I would, I just caught that for the first time tonight. So
I'll mention that to the crime analyst, see if he has anything to add to that, and if it's not relevant, we'll just have it removed.
yeah, like at the end of the day, all these stats that are in here are occurrences within the town of Stratford or within your working area.
Yes, they are.
Or Stratford. Yes. Okay. That's all that really matters.
Yeah, I'd just like to point out a couple of more things here from our statistics sheets. For the month, we've had 14 motor vehicle accidents. Now, we've all been made aware of the new policies from the Department of Highways in regards to the sanding and salting and snow plowing of our roads. I just want to warn people that the intersections are sometimes become slippery. So please slow down before you get to a stop sign, because sometimes there's ice there and you're going to slide right through a stop sign, and we certainly don't want to see that happen. Also, we had under property crimes, thefts from motor vehicles, 10, but I have been informed there has been an arrest made in that case, and the person is now before the court process. Impaired by alcohol 3, impaired by drug is 1. So there's obviously the membership is out there driving around and checking vehicles. So that's pretty well it for the Rcmp report. I'm sure we have more questions. Please go ahead. All right. Haven't heard none. We will move on to 10D, and that is Humane Society. Again, a standardized month. I just want to report on the sheet. Year to date, we've had 243 either cases, patrols, and whatever done within our community. So there's 243 for the year, which averages out to about 20 a month. Okay, any questions about Humane Society? Okay, 10E, Transit Report. Deputy Mayor Clow asked last month whether these numbers were for the whole month or for daily. And I asked that question, and we'll notice on the side, left-hand side of the page, it says average passengers per day. And I'm assured that the 102 for the month is the number of people using the transit bus in around the Stratford area. 102 is the same year as 2018, so the numbers are slowly climbing back up for the transit system. Do we have any comments on the transit? Okay, move over to 10F. There was no fire board meetings this month in regards to the Omicron coronavirus situation. I'm sure that they are working ahead. They are getting their funding in place. The request for the budget will be presented to us, and they're running well. So really no concerns there for myself. We've had 9 calls in the month of December, and it's just the usual stuff, nothing really outstanding. Of course, we did have the one big fire that I reported on last month, and that was in Orwell Cove, the mussel plant, but we discussed that already. So that is the numbers for the month. Any questions about that? And if not, I do have a resolution here tonight for the Crossroads Fire Department.
Please proceed.
Okay, thank you. The Town of Stratford Resolution number SS001-2022, appointments of directors to the Crossroad Rural Community Fire Department. Whereas the Town of Stratford has a right and responsibility to appoint 7 members to the Board of Directors of the Crossroads Rural Community Fire Company, and whereas the Council intends to appoint 2 members each year for 3 years terms, so there is a regular turnover on the board, but also a continuation of with only 2 new members per year. Be it resolved that the following persons be appointed to serve on the Board of Directors, the Crossroads Rural Community Fire Company for the year of 2022, I believe it should read. So we'll amend that, please. The town representative will be myself, Constable Derek Smith. The community representatives will be Kevin Jenkins, the 2nd year of a 3rd-year term, Carol Ann Duffy, the 2nd of a 3-year term, Chris Landry, the 2nd year of a 2nd-year term, David Swan, the 2nd year of a 2nd-year term, and Dave Milligan will be now stated as a 1st year of a 3rd-year term, and Kathy Livingstone, the 1st year of a 3-year term. This resolution bears a recommendation of the Committee of the Whole from a meeting held on the 15th of December 2021, and I will be moving that motion.
Okay, do you want to have the Deputy or Vice Chair of Safety Services second that motion?
I believe that's Gail McDonald. She would do
Yes,
so.
I can do so. I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Okay, any discussion?
Councillor Smith, is Dave Milligan and Kathy Livingston, they were already on the committee, so they're just being reinstated to a 3-year term?
Yes. The process is now that instead of every 3 or 4 years, 2 years, switching all 6 members around, we're going to do it every year, 2 members each, which makes it a lot easier for us and the continuation of representation on the board. So Dave Milligan and Kathy have done an excellent job during the last year. Dave has been there for a long time, and he knows the ropes about buying trucks and equipment. And Kathy Livingstone comes to our meeting well prepared and asks very good questions. So it was my wish to have them both return, and they both agreed to do so.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion carried. Thank you for your report, Councillor Smith.
And again, I want to thank all the parents and the children. And it was a real eye opener for myself during the Santa Claus parade to realize how many children we have in this community under the age of 10. It is quite an eye opener. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're looking for a new rink. I just wanna
Actually,
say some- Sorry,
we'll
Steve.
mo-
I just
we'll-
want to say something there before Corporal Ludley leaves.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Just as Chair of Recreation, I want to thank Corporal Ludley and his staff there for doing a terrific job that night with the parade. Like I said, everybody knows the kids around. It was fantastic. Everybody was a joyous mood and so on. And him leapfrogging from intersection to intersection helped everything go smoothly. So I just want to thank him, staff, and the members from Stratford Rcmp there.
Yeah, with those dance moves, maybe they'll make it to big time.
Yeah. I don't know about Parsons.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Glant. And thank you very much, Corporal Utley. Okay, we'll move on to Recreation, Culture and Events. And I'll ask the chair of that committee, Councillor Steve Gallant, to give his report.
Thank you, Your Worship. It's right in front of me there. I guess Wendy's got the mouse. Just as our meetings did not meet in December, and the schedules to meet were the next Recreation Culture meeting on Thursday, January 27th. Our Arts and Culture subcommittees didn't meet also. Also moved down to the Audio Visual Arts Artist and Resident Program. Stratford brackets the Urban Sketching with Ink and Gusha A. Program began Wednesday, October 6, 2021 and continues through March 9th, 2022. The Dance Movement Enrichment Program for grade 6 students at Stratford Elementary School have been delayed until January 22nd. With the present COVID situation and the school learning delay, the status of the program is being reevaluated. Mr. Idit is set to instruct this program and is working with the Stratford School Administration to determine a viable approach to offering the program, considering the current situation we're in now with COVID. The Arts and Culture Winter programs were Winter 2022. Our program had offered a choice of in-person or online participation. With the COVID cases rising, decisions have been made to offer all our program online only. Residents who were registered for in-person programs have been afforded the option to receive a full refund or move on to an online participation. The youth art programs were delayed. Our winter art programs include the art club, the beginner watercolor painting class, intermediate watercolor and painting class, drawing class, brushstop preschool program, and youth art classes. The events committee did not meet in December, but scheduled to meet on Thursday this month, January 20th. The second, of course, we're all talking about earlier, the second annual Santa Claus Santa Motorcade was held Friday, December 10th, 2021 from 6 to 8 p.m. Again, Santa was able to travel in style with the Crossroads Fire Department, Stratford Rcmp, and Island EMS. Santa's route took him through in and around Stratford, enabling to get in most subdivisions. Many residents expressed appreciation for the motorcade and the extended route this year. Those traveling in the motorcade saw so many very happy, excited faces. A big thank you to the volunteers at Crossroads Fire Department, again, Stratford, IMS, and Mayor Council for their participation. You can just move your mouse down there. Wendy, there we go. And many residents, Mayor Council for the participation in the motorcade. So and I also want to thank Councillor, yourself, Your Worship, Mayor, and Gary, Councillor Clow, and Councillor Smith. It was a lot of fun on the bus, and there was a lot of laughs, and it was a great feeling. Like it's a great community feeling. That's what it was. I was pretty proud that night, and everybody was out in joyous mood, and with everything going on, it was a very thankful night. Winterfest 2022, February. It's going to be on February 1st to 28th. It's being planned to 2021 with virtual activities that residents can enjoy as family or a small group outside. More details will be unveiled in the coming weeks as more certainty comes about for the CPHO announcements. The Stratford Youth and Center Council, the Stratford Youth Center is currently closed until at least January 17th due to current COVID situation. If unable to open at that time for in-person programs, some programs and youth meetings will resume online through Zoom during the closure and before reopening. Youth Center staff will be performing a deep cleaning of the Youth Center and organizing storage rooms. The Youth Center annual holiday party and award ceremony was canceled in December due to COVID. The party and ceremony will be rescheduled when it's safe to do so. The format may need to be modified to adapt to COVID restrictions. The babysitting and stay safe registrations for 2022 courses have been delayed until we have more clarification on COVID restrictions. Courses were scheduled in February, March, and a number of youth center fundraisers were planned for early 2022. The online auction and Winterfest fun fair, the walkathon, and so on. Due to the current COVID situations, these fundraisers will need to be delayed, altered, or canceled. Youth committees will be discussing and making plans. Everything just related back to COVID, and we know where we're at with it. The recreation programs, all recreation programs have delayed starts. The dates is January 17th, 2022. Pending the further update from CPHO, all programs shall be extended with additional time to be added at the end of the season to compensate for the delayed start to the winter programs. The fitness area gymnasium, Stratford Town Center and fitness area was scheduled to operate on reduced operating hours for Christmas. However, with the introduction of CPHO guidelines prior to Christmas, the decision was made to close the town center and fitness center until a restricted lesson. Outdoor rinks, the town is pleased to provide 3 outdoor rinks this winter season, depending on weather conditions. The rinks will be available from early January to March. Now, the last couple of days, our staff has been out. Jeremy can attest to this. We're a Pondside Park. It's being developed there now. I know Bunbury is down to Bunbury today. It looks good, and they're still flooding. And I know we have this year, we have an outdoor skating oval, not an oval, like a outdoor skating only, the tennis court located in the pond side. So I just want to stress my concern is just for outdoor skating only, no pucks. And that's what just for skating only. So hopefully it's going to ascertain some of our problems last year. People have requested this. Now with the purchase of the fire truck and so on, we might be able to develop more rinks throughout the community. And then and Jeremy's and Jason and of course Jeremy Crosby are all looking in those situations. There are 2 hockey ringette rinks, one located in Bunbury Outdoor Rink and the other in Pondside. Like I said, designated for skating. The rinks are unsupervised, but hope that residents and guests respect designations at the rinks and avoid unnecessary confrontations. I encourage everybody to wear a helmet, and respect everybody's social distance and so on. And then the fresh air, it's, would be really great if they're skating and playing hockey. And I know down here in Bunbury, it's very active here. So, but that concludes my report, Mayor Ogden, but I have a couple shout outs. There's a young lady, her name is Summer Kelly. She's a young artist from Stratford. She's 11 years old, and she won the Christmas art contest with the Guardian. And she's up and coming, a young artist, and she's 11 years old. And she was instructed by Ryan McAdam Young, and she won the competition in the Guardian, the Christmas competition this year, and the Guardian. So she did really well. Her name was, she's 11 years old, and she's an up and coming artist. So it's great to see that with young people from Stratford. And also there was it's Max Dunphy, Derek, was it Maxman?
Yes, it's Max Dunphy.
Max Dunphy, he's 11 years old. He was a full-time soccer player, is on the Whitecaps soccer program, which covers all of Canada. And this year, Max entered a skill competition with over 1,000 people participating. And then they went down, then he made the last 300. And then they went down to 15. And then Max, then he wins the championship. So it was great to see a 11-year-old soccer player. And his parents are Trevor and Christine Dunphy, and then they're from the Bonavista area in Stratford. And it's great to see. I love honor and stuff like that, especially charity recreation and young people doing well and sports and so on. So that concludes my recreation report. Like I said, if anybody want to have comments on the rinks and so on, I know we're out there. And I mean, I'll tell you, the staff's working 24/7. I mean, you're flooding at 2 or 3 in the morning, and we have people doing that. So we're trying to get these rinks up and going. And Jeremy, if you want to interact on anything else with the trails and so on, you can jump in there.
Just before you jump in, Jeremy, I just want to add my congratulations to Summer Kelly and Max Dunphy on their great accomplishments. I think those are great great things to have for the town. Great results, and really wish them well. So congratulations.
Yes, congratulations as well to Summer and Max. Great achievements, not only locally but nationally, and it's great to see our kids. We might be a small community, but we do great things here at all ages. Just to follow up, Councillor Gallant, yes, our rinks are, all three of them are open. I'd just like to kind of further comment that this year we do have a skating only rink on the tennis courts at Pondside. You'll notice that there's two rinks there, Pondside tennis courts and the Pondside multi-use court. So the original rink, the multi-use court, is for skating or for hockey or ringette, active sports, and then there's casual skating at the second rink, and then at Bunbury, which is predominantly hockey and ringette as well. I'd just like to say we're also working with the local curling community to perhaps provide curling on one or more weekends throughout the course of the winter. February 5th for sure is a weekend that we're aiming for right now. It's a national curling day in Canada, so we're hoping to not only provide traditional sports that people are aware of on the outdoor rinks, but perhaps some non-traditional sports that should be traditional sports like curling on our surfaces as well. So, and our trails were groomed today after the most recent snowfall at Fullerton's and Robert Cotton Park. So we're hopeful residents can get out and enjoy those two pristine natural environments over the coming days and weeks before we get bombarded again on the weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. But thanks for commenting the curling club. They've got the curling outdoor curling. I mean, we hit that last year. It was a lot of fun. It's just it was a lot of fun, and it's going to create a lot of interest, especially outside. And I think Jeremy probably will have the rings and stuff this year, like the water level, like we last year. Remember, where there's sort of the ring markers sort of come out.
Yeah, last year they used a little bit of paint, which the sun caused issues with. So this year we're going to get a different method of making the rings, whether it just be outlines with yarn or something like that. So we'll make it much more user-friendly this year.
Yeah.
Any other questions on Councillor Gallant's report?
Yeah, I have a question, Your Worship.
Okay, go ahead.
It's Gail. Yeah, Steve or Councillor Gallant, I was just curious, is Bunbury fully for hockey and ringette rather this year, or is there going to be certain hours set aside for family skates as in past years?
Well, we're looking. It's a good question, Councillor Don. We're right now, as I can tell you that we're looking at hockey only. And that rink and ringette, so on, and we're looking to trying to encourage people to go over to Pondside to skating only, because couples, I guess, last year we ran into a couple of incidents there, and it wasn't used by a lot of skaters, but at the same time we're trying to put the skaters in one area if we can. We tried to get another area in Cotton Park and developed, and we just couldn't get it developed this year with the landscaping problem and the rain and so on. But no, that's a good question. And Jeremy, you can ascertain that, answer that question too if you want.
Sure. Based on the feedback that we received in previous years, it was a desire to have a skating only rink so that people could go at any time of the day. The difficulty with the alternating schedule that we found from the last 3 or so years is that we don't have people to police the schedule. So people would show up there and there'd be a group of individuals there playing a sport, and it'd be very difficult to ask them to step aside. One or two individuals are coming to look to skate. Most of the feedback we also received is that they didn't mind going to a different location as long as there was a distinction between skating and hockey. And I'm using hockey because ringette is also played, but hockey predominantly. So that's why we chose a location, and it's unfortunate, as Councillor Gallant said, that we weren't able to have it at Robert Cotton, kind of neutral, but we just weren't able to make the logistics work this year.
Thank you. So perhaps we'll keep that in mind for next winter then, Jeremy, as far as using Cotton Park.
Absolutely. You'll see it enabled hopefully in the budget that we'll have a fourth rink for next year.
Great, thank you.
And speaking of skating, if you want to, I don't know, but wanted the group, I would encourage, especially in Ward 3, I love to have the skating and barbecue and so on. And I know Councillor Clow would love to do that too as a group, just skating only. And we could probably line it up that way, book it that way. I don't see any problem there, right?
One thing I noticed just driving around Stratford in the last few weeks or so is the amount of rinks in the backyards. I know there's 2 here in Clearview. If you take a drive out, and you'll see lights all around the perimeter of the little rinks. So, and I see it in other areas. So you see, what they're doing is they're putting rinks in the little neighborhoods, and I guess the neighbors are coming over and skating, playing hockey. So it's good to see that too, also, and it takes the load off of our pond side and Bunbury rink and stuff too. So it's great to see that, and I can't believe the work that's put into these rinks. It's not. They got boards around it. They've got nets, actual nets, and lights all around the perimeter, and it looks good at night. And when you see the kids there, skating,
No, it's great. I mean, it's outdoors and it's healthy and it's great. It's perfect.
I don't think you need a permit.
No. But I was thinking that today. I was just out for a walk today, thinking, they have a competition or say who's the number 1 rink or second rink, and we went around and checked all these outdoor rinks and had a sort of competition and prizes and so on in the town of Stratford. It would be nice to try to put something together like that and get everybody involved. I'll probably look at that down the road, but like anything else, there's a lot of work to it. But I was just thinking that today for a walk. All these kids, all these families putting these rinks together, and they have lots of time now. And nice to go around checking on them, see them, take some photos and so on. Yeah. Anyway, I'll start. Any more questions, Steve?
If there's no more questions, maybe we'll proceed to the resolution, Councillor Gallant.
Yeah, just as with the Town of Stratford resolution, number RC 001-2022, community campus land lease for the Island Gymnastics Academy. This is great to present this tonight. I make the motion myself, whereas Stratford has established a community campus land lease request policy number 2021 RC-01 to access request for land in the new Stratford community campus. Whereas the Island Gymnastics Academy has indicated in its interest in leasing 2.5 acres of parcel land from the town of Stratford for $1 per year in the community campus located in the northwest corner of the campus adjacent to Bunbury Road for a new 16,500 square foot net zero training facility, and has submitted a request in accordance with the requirements of the community campus land lease request policy. And down further is whereas council published a notice of the potential lease to the Island Gymnastics Academy in accordance with section 143 of the Municipal Government Act, and received a few comments from the public in support of the lease, a few comments and a petition against the lease arising mainly of the concern for the proximity of the proposed facility to their homes on or near the Bunbury Road. You move it down a bit, yeah. Whereas the community campus Implementation Committee, Council, and the Island Gymnastics Facility agreed to move the location of the lease parcel towards the center of the campus, away from the homes on the Bunbury Road. Being it resolved that the attached lease between the town of Stratford and the Island Gymnastics Academy, effective February 1st, 2022, be hereby approved, and the mayor and chief administration officer be authorized to affix their signatures thereto. This resolution bears a recommendation of the Committee of the Whole Council from a meeting held on December 15, 2021.
So moved.
Just need a seconder. Yeah, I'll make the motion.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Second, and Councillor Clow. Yep. Go ahead.
Okay. Any discussion on this motion?
I think that just it's not covered off in the terms of this, but just for anyone listening, so there was like an application and to garner whether the Island Gymnastics academy is a good fit for the campus. And they had to fill out a whole application for that. And at the end of the day, you look through that application to see if it aligns with what we're trying to achieve with the community campus. And we absolutely did see alignment with what their goals are and what our goals of the campus are. And so I think that's a key piece of this as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good description of the process. I know the bottom line is I know the question every councillor asks themselves is there a net benefit to the town of Stratford by the provision of this land for this facility, and this facility will bring upwards of 1,000 people into the town every week and will provide a facility right in our town for children and youth and even adults, I guess, that want to pursue their skills in gymnastics. So I think it's a win-win. It's a win for the facility or for the gymnastics academy, and it's a win for the town. There is a really positive aspect to this that really fits right in with our policy.
The one other item here is, you know, they have applied for ISIP funding for this particular facility, which I don't believe they've heard back on at this particular junction. I kind of feel like having this lease in place strengthens their application for ISIP, likely, and for looking to get the financing in place. They kind of need to know that they have this in place in order to go look for further financing and to strengthen their ISIP application, I am guessing. So we are, approving this lease, knowing you know, if the ISIP application doesn't come through for them, they'll have to figure out a plan B. But knowing that they have this in their pocket, I think strengthens their approach to figure that out.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Any other comments?
So I understand excuse me, Your Worship, I understand that we do have a date though established that if ISIP funding doesn't come through, then we free up the land perhaps for someone else.
I'd have to double check on that, Councillor McDonald, but I believe there is something in there in the lease with regard to that.
Yeah, I think there's a period of time that construction has to be commenced, and
Yes.
you know, the responsibility for all the infrastructure and that has to be taken on by the applicant. So I think the risk to the town is minimal. And if this doesn't go forward, then obviously, as Councillor Burridge said, there has to be another look at it and look at a plan B.
I'm just not sure if it's a year or 2 years, but there is stipulations in there that they have to start construction and have it finished by a certain point.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's pretty. I think it's and I know they have certain timelines that they want to achieve as well. Like if they could break ground tomorrow, I think they would. But yeah, I think there's 18 months. I think there's an 18-month term in there.
Mm.
Yeah, they have a design build firm that's ready to go. They've already been in them, looked at the topography, and we provided them with some additional information with regard to the land. And I know they wanted to get in and do a geotechnical investigation. So they're quite anxious to get going, and as well as we are on our road to get in there. So hopefully it all works out well.
And this building, Jeremy, is going to be consistent with all their other buildings in that area too, right?
Yeah, they're to be built to a net zero, or to be net zero ready for sure. And you know, they're gonna match in with the our design standards are being completed now, and that'll be provided to them in time. So yeah, it'll match in with what we want to see within that campus.
Yeah.
They were actually in the meeting, the finance meeting yesterday, and stated that I think that their spend on this facility is $5.3 million. So it'll be, you know, a nice facility in the town.
Yep.
Certainly.
Any other discussion? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carried. Okay, thank you, Councillor Gallant. We'll now move on to Finance and Technology. I'll ask Councillor Gail McDonald, the chair of that committee, to give her report.
Sure. Thank you, Your Worship. The reports are all in your package. The Finance Department have been very busy working on some new budget initiatives that have come through for our upcoming budget year. They're also working on the draft budget. We'll be having our first meeting on February 3rd with management and council. They were also working on the draft capital budget, which also has to be processed at the same time. The January utility bills have been processed and should all be in the mail by tomorrow. So it's extremely busy time for the section for sure. And we've, let them take on a lot of responsibility for getting the budget to a certain level before council gets involved. So also we had a Finance and Technology Committee meeting on the 14th of December via Zoom, of course, and the reports in your package there, a lot of discussions about the Rcmp, about the upcoming budget. We discussed the Meals on Wheels application. I do have a resolution coming up in a few minutes on that. And under new business, we talked about the strategic priority list session that was held then with council and management there. I believe that was back in December. Also, the deed transfer tax was discussed. We went over all the reports. The finance director brought everyone up to date on the current capital projects. And that was about it. We're having another meeting for this month on January 18th. We'll be discussing the budget at that time and bringing them up to date on what's been happening so far in that regard. The financial statements are in your package as well. And, figures are off a little bit, of course, mainly due to COVID-related reasons. Our revenue is up 8.5%, and our expenses are down just 4%. We have, if there's any questions on the income statement, either myself or the finance director should be able to answer them. And the utility income financial statement is also in your package. Generally speaking, certainly things are, I'm just making it bigger there on my screen. Things are good there as well. Revenue is showing up 51% year to date. However, there was a donation for the subdivision in Clearview that skewed the figures a little bit there. So let me see, and our expenses were down about 9.4% so far this year. So if there's any questions, as I say, we'd be pleased to answer them. And whenever you're ready, I will proceed with the resolution.
Any questions on Councillor McDonald's report?
Gail, Councillor McDonald, like since COVID, things were pretty good, pretty not normal, but pretty good financially as for the town.
Yeah. You know, there was a couple of areas that our revenue may not have been quite as where we were hoping it would be, but certainly generally speaking, things have been balancing out pretty good. We've had a couple of additional expenses that we weren't expecting, sort of thing, but at the end of the day, at the end of March, things should start looking very close to balanced.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, please proceed with the resolution. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Your Worship. So I have a resolution here, number FT 0015-2021, Meals on Wheels donation. Whereas a request was received from the Charlottetown Meals on Wheels for financial support, and whereas the Charlottetown Meals on Wheels Board has made the decision to expand to the town of Stratford after several requests for the service were indicated. Since this is a new service, Meals on Wheels is looking for a financial donation. They currently have 29 clients using the service and are hoping to expand in the new year. Be it resolved that $1,500 be donated to Charlottetown Meals on Wheels to support the Stratford expansion. This resolution bears the recommendation of the Finance and Technology Committee as discussed at a meeting held on November 16th, 2021. So moved.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Okay, any discussion? I just like to say that this is a great service for residents of Stratford. I know that my sister-in-law, who passed away in the spring in May, she was sick with MS for quite a period of time, and it was a godsend for her to be able to, she'd come over here for Thanksgiving, and she was able to get home for Christmas and special occasions, kids' birthdays, and that sort of thing. And if it weren't for that service, she would never have been able to do that. So that means so much. It's actually priceless for families to be able to have that service. So I think it's a really great service to have expanded into Stratford, and I certainly welcome it.
Thank you, Your Worship. I fully support this resolution request as well. I did some of the math there with their 29 clients that they currently have in Stratford. It's costing them, the client actually pays $4 per meal, but it costs the Meals on Wheels organization $6.90 per meal. So they're trying to recoup that $2.90 from various sources. They're going to be doing some fundraising in the upcoming year. So that math actually figures out to a little over $14,000 that they have to make up just for this calendar year, just for the 29 current clients there in Stratford. So our $1,500 donation it will be a help, and they do definitely appreciate whatever we can do. They are actually have put in a budget request though for this coming year that they're hoping to hit perhaps $2,500 from the town going forward. So we'll be discussing that at budget talks time.
Mayor Ogden, can I just interrupt for one moment? I have
Certainly.
the wrong number on the resolution. It should be, I guess, FT 001-2022, because it's the first resolution of 2022. I did it in December, and I have the wrong number on it.
And thank you for pointing that out, Kim. Kim and I actually had the discussion today, and I can't believe if I just read 2021. Yes, so thank you for that observation, and we'll get that modified.
Okay, thank you. So we got a motion moved and seconded. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, all good.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion carried.
Thank you, Your Worship. That's my report.
Oh, thank you for your report, Councillor McDonald. We'll now move to Planning, Development, Heritage. I'll ask Councillor Jill Burridge, who chairs that committee, to give her report.
All right, so I won't, the minutes of we just had our meeting Monday night, and we had a few of our councillors in attendance and the mayor, which was good. I won't go over too much in here right now because I have a couple of resolutions which really take up most of the discussion that we had at planning on Monday night, and we'll be talking about them here in a few minutes. A couple of things I did want to point out is last council meeting and last planning meeting, we talked about a subdivision off Mason Road. It's the Chen Sun subdivision. It's a 28 lot R1 low density development. I think it's 28 lots, 22 are single family, 6 are semi-detached. and it's as of right subdivision. So it is sitting there. There's no developments, no resolutions tonight on that one. They are awaiting information. It's under review by Department of Transportation right now. So that's where that one sits. The other thing that I was just going to point out quickly was it is on our, and just because it's fresh in mind, if anyone was listening to the news, Charlottetown passed an STR bylaw. I just want to point out that this is on our work plan. We're waiting to see what happened there and how they approach that. So we discussed it at the last planning meeting, and it'll be on the board again coming up to see what we can do in the town of Stratford with regards to short-term rentals. There is a bit of a concern that now that Charlottetown has taken a strong approach on that, that maybe there could be a spillover into Stratford potentially. There is potential of that. And so, you know, just wanted to kind of get in front of that on the planning side. So that is a discussion, and that will be coming up. Other than that, the rest of the items are coming up in resolution. So if there's any more questions on the report, feel free to fire away.
It's good to see the building permits still going in the right direction. It's very positive. I think we're 10 million month over month better than last year. So that's good.
Yeah, for moving into permit summary, I can go there. Yeah, a strong year, close to 50 million in development, 30 million of it being single family dwellings. They're predominantly, that was predominantly what it was made up of. And yes, as you stated, Mayor, about 10 million more than last year. So a busy year, definitely for the planning crew and planning staff. They had a really busy year, and it doesn't seem to stop. So there's no break. So kudos to the team in there. They're full out.
Great. Any questions on the meeting, planning development heritage meeting, or the permit summary? If not, please proceed with resolutions.
All right, and this is the text bylaw. Yeah, okay, so we have 3. Okay, so PH 001-2022 General Text Amendments, Town of Stratford Zoning and Development Bylaw number 45, public meeting. Whereas several text amendments have been identified that are required to allow cannabis retail and other text amendments bringing updated language to improve the zoning and development bylaw number 45. And whereas pursuant to section 3 of the zoning and development bylaw, it is required that a public meeting be held to solicit public information from residents. Be it resolved that an amendment to bylaw number 45 be brought forward to a public meeting on January 26th, 2022 to solicit input from residents. This resolution bears the recommendation of the Planning and Heritage Committee as discussed in a meeting held on January 10th, 2022. So moved.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Gary. So generally speaking, and a lot of this is, or I shouldn't say a lot of this, one of the main things here is cannabis retail operation. We had to address that and figure out how to incorporate that now into, because we excluded cannabis retail operations before in the bylaw, but now with legalization and these shops popping up, we have to move with the times and allow this now within our town. So that was the catalyst to this. And then whenever we decide to do this, usually a review is done, and there's always a running list of little typos and updates that planning will keep on the side. So when a change like this or a review like this happens, we want to make sure we catch as much language as we can and updates when we are going to have a public meeting. So beyond the cannabis operation, one other item in there that you'll see a number of updates on is whenever we talk about when we're doing subdivisions and we talk about 20% within certain subdivisions and developments being designated as they can be semi-detached or duplex lots. The language always talked about units, and we're changing that to lots, which is what it should be and how it should read. So to put it in context, if you had a 10 lot development scheme or subdivision that came to you, in our bylaw, we allow 20% of those lots to be semi-detached or duplex. And the language always said units. So we're changing that to lots. So 2 of those 10 lots would be now dedicated to be semi-detached or duplex lots. It's not a change in how we're doing anything. We always did it this way. It's just units to lots. So that's a reoccurring edit in this language. And I'll stop there in case there's any questions before I talk about anything else.
Any questions?
Just one point in regards to your cannabis resolution. We don't have a time on that one. I noticed that the Irving Avenue one has a time, but the cannabis one does not. Maybe we should add a time in there for that one. And how is the meeting going to be done? Is it going to be a Zoom or in person, or how are we going to do that one?
So this public meeting would be that's a good question. I don't think it's going to be in person. Blaine, I guess I've been assuming it's going to be a virtual event, but I could be wrong. Wendy or Blaine can answer that.
We're actually going to have a meeting tomorrow about that during our budget meeting. That's something that come up today because the emergency services facility is going to be used for other purposes. But, you know, based on the pandemic and the way things are going right now, we probably will be planning to do that virtually. And I know that they contacted the company that's helped us out in the past with that, but we are going to be discussing that tomorrow and come up with a plan for that for sure. And make sure that we get the timing down so that this is ready for the first reading of the February council meeting.
Yeah.
We're going to indicate what time it is, 6 p.m. or whatever.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Derek? Okay. The time does say immediately following the first presentation. So we just didn't put a time in there because we don't know specifically how long the first agenda item may take. That's similar to what we did with other ads for the agenda time. So it usually says immediately following the above, just because it's hard to determine exactly how long one may take with regards to the rezoning file. There's usually some discussion involved. So it does say in the ad that we're putting out, it will say immediately following the above.
I'm wondering, Blaine, if I think in the last meeting we did set some timelines.
Yeah.
If people are tuning in specifically for a particular item, it is nice to have a general timeline.
We've done it either way. I mean, if you guys feel that the timeline should be incorporated, then we could do that. I mean, the advertisement has gone to Wendy and it hasn't been submitted to the Guardian yet. So there's still time we can change it if so need be.
It is difficult to estimate, and I know when we have looked at best practices from other municipalities, they typically don't. It just carries on as the next agenda item.
Okay.
And then we do allow time afterwards, as we have in the last few public meetings, where people will have time afterwards to submit comments as well to view the recording.
Yep. It
is hard to estimate though what that time is, and either run into the previous one running late and then you have people potentially waiting. I think the benefit to it being likely virtual this time is that it is easier to kind of tune in and out. You're not standing in a lobby or standing outside lining up to waiting for that switch over like we've done in the past.
Yeah.
But it is a difficult one.
Okay.
I'm also noticed that we have a COW meeting set for 4:30 on that afternoon. You might run into a timeline with that one too.
Well, we can just cut it short to make sure that we meet the, we're available for the public meeting.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that, Derek. Maybe we start the committee of the whole earlier or something. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
In the past, whenever we have public meetings, it always coincides on the day that there's committee of the whole.
I always thought in the past we did have a time because to prevent one from going on and on and on, because that can happen. And with a timeline, at least you have a little bit of control. When you start the meeting, you can say we have an hour and a half, and hopefully try to get that in that time. Because if it does run over, I mean, it could be 9, 10 o'clock if you allow that, depending on the issue. I don't think we'll have that issue, but sometimes putting the time in there helps a bit. That prevents you from saying you got all night. We can stay here and discuss this for 2 hours. Or
yeah, I'll I think the chair of the meeting can offer a little bit of control there too.
Well, maybe the best thing to do here is to what is Dicey here? Can everyone hear me? My internet seems to be a little bit unstable here.
We can hear you fine.
Okay. I guess other people are breaking up, so that's the reason that I keep moving around here. So, I think we can wait for the recommendation from the management team and make the leave that as an open item because I think there is arguments on both sides. I don't think we particularly need to specify tonight exactly how we approach it, but I think it is sort of a recommendation, I guess, from the deputy mayor and Councillor Smith that we look at establishing times, and so maybe that could be looked at and proceed from there.
Is there anything else? Did you want me to continue to go through some of these other pieces that will be included in the text amendments, or is everyone comfortable with what's being presented?
You've already presented the whole resolution. Is that correct?
I presented the resolution. I was just going through the support document, mainly because it wasn't in the package up until later this afternoon. So if anyone wants me to work through more pieces of this, please just tell me to go ahead, but otherwise I won't take up any more of your time.
Every one of those amendments actually were in the planning report.
In the planning report. Yes, they were. You're right, Blaine. Yeah.
I'm okay the way it is.
Councillor Burridge?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, hi. I just have a confirmation question sort of thing, just to make sure they're on that units and lots.
Yes.
So if 6 duplexes were allowed in a subdivision before, when we refer to them as units, it's going to be the same 6. Is that correct?
Yeah. Nothing's changing in our approach. Yeah.
Okay.
We always approach it using lots. It's just
so I'm just wondering if that's kind of the reason behind it, because like right now we refer to a lot of land as a specific lot marked out, and there could be a duplex sitting on a lot or a triplex sitting on a lot, and I'm just wondering now why we've made this change from using taking away, not using the word unit.
So I guess the math, that 20% was always applied to the lots. The units, the original language of units was, it was the wrong term. Every time they calculated this, it was in terms of the lots in the subdivision or the lots in the block. 20% of the lots would become, and it only triplexes don't factor into this. This is only for duplex or semi-detached. So this is only for the duplex or semi-detached clauses that are inside the subdivision terms.
But you're saying at the end of the day that the actual numbers won't be affected?
It's not going to change the calculation that we have done historically. Nothing changes.
Okay, your offer to go through, the rest of the amendments there. I'm wondering, Jill, is there any specific ones that you may have any concern about whatsoever, or certainly would like to bring to our attention?
Yeah, thanks, Gail. The cannabis retail one was the big one. That's what kind of prompted this text amendment public meeting portion. The units to lots, I just wanted to explain. Another item in there is that came up was fences and defining fences. We had lawyers look at that. There were issues. There was language in the bylaw before to say that a fence must impede people from coming inside your lot. So it defines like that a fence encloses the lot and that it should impede unauthorized persons from entering. And the team in planning kind of that became a bit of a headache sometimes, because impede means make it more difficult for them to get in, where we really want to, and lawyers said you should really make that language prevent instead of impede. And mostly this is all centered around pools and fences around pools. It basically is where this came up. So that was just something that the planning folks kind of struggled with sometimes, and this language will make it a lot easier for them. So that was a little adjustment. And temporary signs would be the only other thing that I'd bring attention to. It becomes a bit of a headache inside the planning department. Yeah. And so they have, they're removing the section on temporary signs. They're still defining temporary signs within the bylaw. And, but they're taking out the section of it because the section almost made it more difficult for them to manage temporary signs within the town. So they're taking that section out. They're still defining it. People can still have temporary signs in the town, but it gives the planning department a little more flexibility on how that's managed. And really, they probably want to tighten it up. It's not loosening anything on temporary signs. Our official plan and our language on signage is we don't want sign pollution in Stratford, and temporary signs, does create some sign pollution. However, there is a need for it every now and then. If someone wants to have a grand opening, or there is purpose, and so it should be defined in there. So that would be the other thing that I would draw your attention to. Other than that, I those would be the things I would highlight.
That's great.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay, any other questions on these text amendments, housekeeping amendments? Okay, if not, call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion carried. Okay, please proceed with your next resolution, Councillor Burridge.
All right. So the one that you are going to see in here, oh, it has been corrected, Blaine. Is this the updated one?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the updated one. Okay. There was a couple little things we had to change last minute, but okay. So number PH 002 2022 116 60477 Canada Inc. Irving Avenue. PID number 739003 and 79046. Official plan land use map amendment. Whereas an application has been received from 116-60477 Canada Inc. to redesignate parcel numbers 739-003 and 790-246, approximately 6.11 acres from the residential service designation to the mixed-use land use designation. And whereas a rezoning proposal has been prepared by Tim Phelan of Artwork Studio, and whereas pursuant to the Provincial Planning Act and Section 3 of the Town of Stratford Zoning and Development Bylaw, Council must hold a public meeting in order to receive comments from the public on the proposed application. Be it resolved that a public meeting be scheduled to solicit input from residents on an application to rezone parcel numbers 739-003 and 790-246, approximately 6.11 acres from the residential service designation to the mixed-use land use designation on January 26, 2022 at 7 p.m. This resolution bears the recommendation of the Planning and Heritage Committee as discussed at a meeting held on January 10th, 2022. So moved.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Gary. So we have two resolutions here. This is the first one. Both of them deal with the same development. This first resolution is the official plan land use redesignation. So you have land use and then you have zoning. So we're doing two. This first one is land use. So we're moving it from residential service to mixed use. So yeah, I think what I can do here, Blaine, is I will pass it over to you to kind of walk through the development itself and the application, and then I'll take it back once you kind of do the background. If people want that, or people feel familiar with it. You can bring up the concept plan. So this is a lot over by on Irving Avenue, next door to, you're coming down by Finley's. The new ice cream shop is somewhat across the road, next door to the Home Hardware. It's one of the lots along there. So this is a mixed use. This is 3 buildings included in this development, 2 60-unit apartment buildings, underground parking, and first floor commercial. The other building is, now these buildings are, the big thing here is not only is they're asking for a land use designation change and a zoning change, they are asking for us to increase the height requirements, would be the third item that they're asking for, from 35 feet to 62 feet. This is the rendering, so it's a 5-story building. This would be the rendering, and something that they would build would look like this. Apartment units on the top, commercial on the first floor. This type of development is, if you're going to have a development like this is in the commercial core of our town. It makes sense. But it'll be interesting to see what the residents have to say. And this resolution is only to, for council to say, yes, go to a public meeting. So that's really all we're concerned about at this point in time, to see what residents have to say. But yeah, it's I don't know. Does anyone have any questions?
The one question I have, of course, everybody's been hearing about the Gray Group. I take it this is not the Gray Group, but another contractor?
Not the Gray Group, another contractor, yes.
Okay, so this is a whole new development beyond what's being scheduled.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, if there's no questions or comments, we'll proceed to the vote. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Okay, I
Alright.
believe you have one more resolution at least.
And one more, again, same development. This is just the zoning, to take the zoning to public meeting. Number PH 002 2022 1160477 Canada Inc., Irving Avenue, PID number 739003 and 79. I think we're missing a number here, 790246 official. And this should be the zoning. This shouldn't be the land use map amendment. Sorry, are we on the?
Did you go to the zoning one? The zoning one should be here.
Yeah, we should be doing the zoning one right now. Let's go down one more to the next one. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, this is the one. So
There is a number missing in 79.
Yeah.
It's going to correct that.
Yeah.
It should be 790246 instead of 79046.
See it below, yeah. Number PH 003 2022 RZ 007-21 116-60477 Canada Inc., Irving Avenue, PID number 739003 and 790246 MRC to MRMU, Mason Road Commercial to Mason Road Mixed Use. Whereas an application has been received from 116-60477 Canada Inc. to rezone parcel numbers 739003 and 790246, approximately 6.11 acres from the Mason Road Commercial MRC zone to the Mason Road Mixed Use MRMU zone. And whereas a rezoning proposal has been prepared by Tim Phelan of Artwork Studio, and whereas pursuant to the Provincial Planning Act and Section 3 of the Town of Stratford Zoning and Development Bylaw, the council must hold a public meeting in order to receive comments from the public on the proposed application. Be it resolved that a public meeting be scheduled to solicit input from residents on an application to rezone parcel number 739003, 790246, approximately 6.11 acres from the Mason Road Commercial MRC zone to Mason Road Mixed Use MRMU zone on January 26, 2022 at 7 p.m. This resolution bears the recommendation of the Planning and Heritage Committee as discussed at a meeting held on January 10th, 2022. So moved.
Seconded.
Thanks, Gary. So yeah, I won't go through it again. Same development. This is just regarding zoning. If anyone has any questions.
And it's to go to a public meeting, right? That's
We go to a public meeting for rezoning.
okay. Anybody have any comments? Questions?
Just for clarification, the Mason Road residential zone, we all think of the Mason Road as being Mason Road, but this area encompass around the Mason Road, right? So it goes across the Trans-Canada Highway.
Yeah.
That's what we call the Mason Road construction zone, right?
Mason Road,
so somebody thinks it's going to be a Mason Road.
Yeah, and and I think this, Blaine, correct me if I'm wrong, this lot is almost like a boundary on this side of the road. I think after this, you get into the Trans-Canada commercial zone. So there's another commercial zone within that area. But yes, it does spread across the road. You're right, Derek. Mason Road Commercial, yeah.
Part of the core area, the Mason Road Commercial Zone does currently go beyond up and below the Trans-Canada and surrounds part of Mason Road.
Yeah.
Is this the right concept here, Joe? It's not the right concept.
Yep.
Yeah, the same thing. It's the same piece of land. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The renderings are there too, but yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, this is to proceed to a public meeting. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion carried. Okay, I think that's the end of your resolutions, Councillor Burridge.
Folks.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll now move on to item 14, infrastructure. And I'll call for the chair of that committee, Deputy Mayor Clow, to give his report.
Thank you, Your Worship. We didn't have a meeting in the month of December, so there's no minutes there for you. Some of the items pass on as the wastewater treatment plant decommissioning. Work on the project continues. The decommissioning components of the work are complete, with only earth moving and landscaping remaining. The fluctuating temperatures over the last month, along with the holiday shutdown, has slowed progress through the month of December. I talked to Jeremy and Jeannie today, and they assure me that in the spring, that hole will be filled. There'll be grass planted, and probably before long we'll be cutting it. So it's just a matter of time. In fact, I think they're going to start filling it in within the next couple of weeks. So it seems like it goes on forever, but there is a process and a way it has to be done properly. Inflow infiltration reduction strategy. We continue to monitor and assess the sanitary sewer collection system to identify any areas requiring repair that will reduce the amount of surface and groundwater entering the collection system. The department will begin a review to identify areas where repairs may be needed and can be carried out in the 2022 budget year. The dry storage building, if anyone has been driving by there, you can see where it's well underway. The construction begun on the project mid-December and is progressing well. The building is expected to be sustainably complete by the end of March. So that'll be an added addition for the people to put storage in there and whatever. So it's well needed. Infrastructure staff, of course, have been busy with the Christmas decorations, setting up 2 ice surfaces, which Councillor Glant spoke earlier on. Salting and sanding and snow removal, bylaw complaints, investigations, cleaning sewer lift stations, water system sampling, water and sewer inspections, and water turnoffs for seasonal properties is complete, and all water meters are stored for the winter. During the month of December, there was a minor overflow at the Pondside sewer lift station attributed to a processor's fault in the pump controller. This was repaired immediately. The overflow was reported to the appropriate authorities, and there was no damage caused to the private property. There was also a sewer blockage that resulted in a manhole overflowing. This was also reported as required and again caused no damage to private property. There was no major issues with the water distribution system. Repairs had been carried out at the Cable Heights water station, and the station is back in operation. So that's my report, Your Worship. If there's any questions, I'm sure myself or Jeannie will be able to answer.
Any questions for the Deputy Mayor?
Deputy Mayor Clow and or Jeannie. It's not part of your agenda here tonight, but I'd gotten a couple of calls from some residents that live down off Kepik Road there in Appledore. The active transportation lane that we completed, which is a great project, and they're all happy to have it. But now that we're dealing with some ice and snow, vehicles that don't have four-wheel drive are challenged coming out of there and onto Kepik Road. The grade on the active transportation route is a little too high, according to the people that contacted me. I'm just wondering if there's anything we can do to mitigate that, or if Jeannie and or Deputy Clow have received similar complaints or whatnot.
Councillor McDougall, yes, I have. There's 2 or 3 coming out of the subdivisions there. I know that I met Jeannie on a couple of occasions over there, and I know that she was working with the contractor on that. I'll let her speak to see where she is with that.
Yeah, thanks.
But there definitely is issues there with grades.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yes, that has been a concern that was raised throughout the finishing pieces of the project. And we did bring that up with the contractor. We had asked them to, it was late, it was probably November when we had a meeting with them out on site, and the asphalt plants were closed at that time. But we had come up with a resolution at that time as a temporary, what we thought was going to be a temporary fix to get us through this, what we thought was going to be an issue through the winter. But obviously the contractor did not follow through and get out there on time to get that done. Seeing as how we've got so much snow and ice down now, I will reach out to the consultant and the contractor to see how we might be able to address that at this point. I know there are a few residents that are having some difficulties maneuvering that grade as they exit onto Kepik Road for sure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks, Jeannie. Yeah, the one in particular today that called and currently they're unable to get their garbage picked up. The garbage trucks, because of the struggles they had, they've opted not to go down there. So yeah, it is a concern for these residents.
Sure. No, I know that absolutely. I was under the impression that one or both of those lanes weren't able to have the garbage picked up through the winter as it was anyway, because of the condition of the steepness of those roads. But this might be a new occurrence if they're bringing it up to your attention now. I guess maybe it's something that they used to be able to maneuver and can't. But certainly I'll be following up on that tomorrow to see what we can get done.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Jeannie. Okay.
Councillor
Any other?
Crowe,
Sorry, go ahead.
So the new water reservoir, is that the piece that we heard we got funding for that through Rcmp, right? Is that the infrastructure piece that we heard back on?
It is. Yes, you're absolutely right, Jill. We were hesitant to really make an announcement because we were told that we couldn't make a public announcement on the funding being approved. Not that this is, I mean, it's public, I guess, to an extent, but that pertains to that, absolutely. So we're going to work on the RFP to get that moving forward as quickly as we can.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was the same project or not. That's why I asked. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Okay. No other questions. Thank you for your report, Deputy Mayor Clow.
Thank you, Your Worship.
We'll move on to Committee of the Whole. We have a couple of resolutions, and I'll ask Deputy Mayor Clow to read those resolutions, if you would.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. CW 001-2022, Capital Area Regional Inc. Kerry Board appointment. Whereas the town of Stratford, through the agreement with the Capital Area Inc. Kerry, must appoint a representative to the Board of Directors of Kerry, a not-for-profit company. Oh God, I just laughed. Not-for-profit company that was created to design, construct, and operate the regional aquatic facilities. And whereas Kim O'Connell served as the town representative to the Board of Directors of Kerry in 2021 and has agreed to serve again. And whereas Kerry has made a request to have Kim O'Connell, with her finance background, serve another term on the board. Be it resolved that Kim O'Connell be reappointed to the Kerry board for the year 2022 to represent the town's interest on the board. So moved.
Okay, would the Chair of Recreation like to second that motion? Okay, you've agreed to do that. Thanks. Thanks, Councillor Gallant. So I guess you're muted there, Councillor Gallant. So you do second that.
There you go.
Second that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, any discussion? Okay, call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody against? Motion carried. Okay, you got one more resolution,
Yep.
Deputy Mayor?
CW 002-2022, appointment of the ex officio members of the Charlottetown Area Development Corporation, CADC Board. Whereas the town of Stratford is a shareholder of the Charlottetown Area Development Corporation, CADC, and as such, there is an ex officio seat for the Chief Administration Officer, CAO, of her designate. And whereas Robert Hughes, the town Chief Administration Officer, CAO, was appointed ex officio to the Board of Directors of CADC, and whereas Mr. Hughes retired on December 23rd, 2021 as CAO of the town of Stratford. Be it resolved that the new CAO, Jeremy Crosby, be appointed as the ex officio to the Board of Directors of CADC. This resolution bears the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole as discussed at a meeting held on January 6, 2022. So moved.
Thank you. Could I ask the Chair of Sustainability, Councillor Darren McDougall, to second that motion?
I will second that motion.
Thank you. Okay, any discussion? If not, we'll proceed to the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion carried. Okay, thank you very much for for that, Deputy Mayor Clow. We'll now move on to item 16, sustainability. I'll ask the chair of that committee, Councillor Darren McDougall, to give his report.
Give you all a warning ahead of time. My house is a little chaotic. Anyway,
okay.
So we didn't meet. I don't have a report for this month. We'll be meeting in February without Robert for the first time since I've been on the committee. That being said, we received an email from a resident in regard to the switch program. His concern was the administration of the payment to the contractor. I think I should address that here. Anyway, I reached out to the resident just to get the proper context and whatnot. And I don't want to speak here for the personnel who are administering the payment and whatnot for the program. So perhaps somebody can speak to it. But I offered more of my own opinion on the matter in regard to contractor payments and that sort of thing. My experience, whether it be with the province and getting rebates and whatnot through the province, which I've done through builds of my own and whatnot, and the expectation of payment from contractors. So that was the nature of the email to us from the resident. Ultimately, his concern was that if we're not paying contractors on time, they're not going to be as eager to do the work, and it'll slow down the whole process. And it's a reasonable concern. So I contacted that person to address that and maybe give him some context. I wasn't sure if he had knowledge of the building business and how payment is made, when it's made, that sort of thing. So I thought that it would be prudent just to have that chat. Anyway, so I will offer an opinion on in regard to what he perceived as maybe an issue, but it is a new program, and new programs are not without glitches and whatnot. This particular program that's been rolled out was a big hit, and that's part of I'll call it a problem, but I'll get into more detail. But in regard to the payment to the contractors, but a good problem to have, the program being as popular as it is. But when you get into programs like this, and there's different layers where there has to be an inspection post work, then there would have to be a report to accompany that inspection, which then goes to another entity, and then by the time payment does roll out, there is a passage of time. And in being in that business, I can tell you guys that at the end of the day, I sometimes don't even receive bills from subcontractors for 3-4 months. In this particular circumstance, I think the inspection was done mid-November, and this particular contractor was looking for payment in mid-December. So most contractors, I would argue, 30 days when they're dealing with a government entity would not have an expectation. I would then argue that as we get more efficient at this, we're obviously going to roll out payment quicker than we perhaps are now. That being said, I wouldn't have an expectation, or most of the contractors that I deal with don't have an expectation that within 30 days, generally they get paid post work. And that's different from person to person. I have some people that work for me that they call me the minute that they're done with the work, and I meet them somewhere and pay them. So it does vary, but for the most part, I don't think it's a massive deterrent to contractors that engage in this work to have to wait 30, 40, 50 days to get paid. I think that that's an expectation that most do have. This particular contractor obviously didn't, and the client, who's the resident who had not issues with it, he was bringing it to our attention. When I talked to him and gave him that context, I think it changed his mind a bit too. But at the end of the day, I think the program is where it is exceeded our expectations as far as its popularity. And again, that too does create out of the gate, when everybody's new at it, at the best of times, some issues. But with its popularity, it's just, I don't think it's overwhelming the staff, but the staff can perhaps speak to it if there are issues, if somebody wants to give an opinion on that.
Yep. The only thing that I'll add to that is that there was some paperwork that the contractor was supposed to fill out in order to get payment. And I think there's some miscommunication on that part. And once that paperwork was filled out, he was paid within a month, which is really industry standard. Normally you have a month to pay. So I think there was a bit of miscommunication there, and that has been resolved. And I know that the group that are administering the program, they've been doing this for quite a while, and they haven't had a lot of problems. So I think it's been resolved, and hopefully that won't happen again.
Yeah, and I think Jeremy, and I'm offering an opinion from somebody who's in that world a bit. Yeah, that's why I reached out to the resident more from that perspective than to overstep into what you guys are doing there. But I spoke to that more so. But yeah, I expected that the program is, not everybody's going to have a great experience with any program that they're engaged in. And I know that dealing with the province myself for rebates and whatnot, I always expect about 6 to 8 weeks personally for a return in that regard. So I think we'll, with their ability to manage this program, I think that the contractors and our residents will be happy with how the funds are rolled out.
That's great that you reached out to the resident. I imagine they appreciated the discussion.
And
yeah, for sure.
Sorry, I'll just add in on there too. If any of the counselors do get calls from people having issues with Pace Atlantic, just forward them on to us and we can get in touch with them. I did have another person get in touch with me just saying they were waiting for a phone call, and basically they were just a little bit backed up too from Christmas holidays. So they're just trying to get through all the phone calls that from Christmas holiday as well.
Okay, thank you. If I could just take a moment to just recognize yourself, Councillor McDougall, and our Community and Business Engagement Manager, based on the results of the business survey that was recently done. It was reviewed at the Accountability and Engagement, which I'll speak to in a moment, committee meeting last month. The results are very positive for the work that council and staff are doing to, and the chair of the Sustainability Committee and the Sustainability Committee and the staff, Wendy Watts, the Community and Business Engagement Manager, are doing to create a nurturing environment for businesses and to attract new businesses to our town. So it was the results are very positive, and I think there's it was well done. The survey was had more than 50 responses. So kudos to you and to Wendy for that initiative. Okay, we'll. Anything else? Any other comments on the sustainability on the issue we talked about, or any other issues around sustainability?
The only other comment I'll make is that Maddie is off on maternity leave now, and we do have Katie Saunier that's taken over, and they did have a lot of overlap between each other to get up to speed on the files. And I've been dealing with Katie on quite a few things here in the last little while. She's very bright and up to speed on things. And Maddie, even though she's officially off of maternity leave, she's still popping in from time to time. She's a trooper. So we did have a meeting with some representatives from Bunbury Forest yesterday with regard to some environmentally sensitive land that we may be trying to acquire with funding from the province. And Maddie did attend. So I think we're in good hands there. And like I said, Katie's gonna do a great job for us. I just wanted to mention that.
That's great. Welcome to Katie. That's great. Great to have continuity in that position. That's super.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any other comments or questions, or?
I was going to ask.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Councillor McDougall, since the Gray announcement, you see some excitement within the town as far as new business starting up and so on. Some excitement about properties being taken over and so on with new business?
I mean, yeah, there's a ton of excitement in the town. There's it's obvious with the number of retail franchise outlets and whatnot that are expressing an interest in coming here. If you see that, I know that there's a franchise, St. Louis, for example, that publicly advertised that they're looking for a franchisee in Stratford.
Right.
I believe there was another franchise. I'm not sure which one, but
Mary Brown's.
Well, Mary Brown's is opening, yeah, and it's the start of I mean, it starts with our population. So once we hit a certain number, that started to move things in a certain direction, and that number was achieved. But now I think with the Gray Group announcement and the projected growth rates and whatnot, the corporate world is certainly paying attention, and we're going to see, and it's happening right now. There's a boom underway, and for sure there's a lot of excitement.
Plus we got all pros, right?
Yeah, well, all pros is coming to town too.
We're already here.
Took a while to sink in, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, on that note, any other comments or questions? Okay, we'll move on. Thank you very much for your report, Councillor McDougall. We'll move on to accountability and engagement, which is my committee, the committee that I chair. So we had a meeting on December, I believe it was first week of December, and there was 3 major items on the agenda. The business survey was one. I've already spoken about that. There was great comments by the members of the committee to how we can follow up on that. And there was also the the resident survey, new questions that were suggested for that around food trucks, tree planting. And I think there's one other item, Wendy, that just slips my mind at the moment. Do you recall what that item, the new questions on the survey? What's the other issue?
Electrical vehicle, maybe?
Short-term rentals. We have a question.
Short-term
about
rentals,
short-term
yeah,
rentals coming up.
So it'll be interesting to see, based on the resident survey, what people think in those 3 areas, because I know we have had, there's been a lot of good work done by staff, and there has been a lot of discussion at council around these items. It'll be interesting to see, how residents feel about these 3 subjects, as well as the subjects that we follow up on every year. That's been finalized, I guess, now, Wendy, and it will be mailed out pretty shortly. It'll be available through the website and a copy mailed to each household.
Yeah, we're just finalizing with the consultant, doing some proofing and finalizing the wording on some of the new questions. We're looking at the end of January for the online launch, which is our typical kind of time frame, and then the paper copy will be mailed out sometime in February with a close date sort of early mid-March. I forget off the top of my head what the close date is, but it's usually between 4 and 6 weeks that it stays open for. So there's lots of time for residents to respond.
And the other engagement aspect or issue that we discussed was the how we can do a better job or reach out for in a better or an improved way or whatever to really get more engagement by youth, young people, between 16 and 30, 35 or whatever, and newcomers to get those major demographic components, how we can get their input on some of the issues and challenges facing the town that we'd like to have public engagement on. So we did get some really good suggestions in those regards as well from the committee. So we'll be making recommendations on those to council. That's pretty well it. Anything else, Wendy, that was discussed at the meeting that I should mention?
No, I think that covers it off.
Okay. Any questions or comments on accountability and engagement? The only other thing I should say in terms of accountability is that we are reviewing the performance statistics every quarter by the committee to look at how the town is performing against the objectives that we've established as council. So that's an important part of the committee's work as well. Okay, if there are no questions, we'll move on to item 18, inquiries by members of council. Does any councillor or the deputy mayor have any issues or anything they'd like to inquire about? Okay,
Your
if
worship.
not, oh, sorry,
Your
go ahead. Go ahead, Councillor
Sorry.
McDonald.
Might this be a good time to mention what I talked about with you earlier today?
Certainly, yeah, certainly. Go ahead. Yeah, I thought maybe other business, but now it's fine.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'd just like to acknowledge the recent death of a long-time resident of my ward here, John Smith. I lived on Stratford Road for as long as I can remember. Sorry, folks. And he and his wife Gladys, she passed away a few years ago, but they raised 7 children, 2 of whom are still living here in Stratford. So John was a great fellow, a longtime employee there of Stearns Laundry, and he was a driver there. He just always made a point of being extra friendly to neighbors and family and friends, of course. And whenever you'd see him, he always had a smile and a chat, sometimes quite a long chat with you. And he'd always leave you with a smile on his face. So he's going to be very missed here in Ward 1. And I just want to pass my sympathies on to all his extended family. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald, and I offer my sympathies as well and condolences to his family. Yeah, sorry to see loss of such a great Stratford resident. Any other? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Councillor Gallant.
No, that's just I just echo my thoughts too. John was a great. Well, believe it or not, he was a Metros fan when I played with the Metros, and Terry McKenna was his boss, and Terry played for Charlottetown. So John was a great guy, and he's a great member of the community, and great large family, and always positive, always smile on his face. God love him. Yeah, he's sadly missed.
Thanks a lot. Okay, we'll move on then to other committees. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, just have a talk just about the COVID and everything on the Omicron with the town hall, and just where we're at. Like Jeremy Crosby could probably answer the question. The people working from home, and what about our staff, like our workers on the ground? Is there any protection for them, and what's kind of procedures, what's going on? It's just a concern for them because there's people work from home, and they can work from home because they're doing stuff on the grounds, right?
Yeah, we do have a fair amount of people that are working from home, probably half the staff, and making sure that we're trying to rotate people working from home so that we don't have any infections that happen.
Yeah.
Also, we've asked our outdoor staff to limit contact with each other, take separate vehicles, not to congregate all together in the the lunchroom, or make sure they take shifts when they do that. They've been following that pretty closely, so they're wearing masks at all times. We did get some information from CPHO today that if we did have someone that's considered an essential worker that does test positive for COVID-19 and they are asymptomatic, there is a form that we can fill out that they can work isolate. In other words, make sure that they are not with other workers, but still continue to do the essential work that we need. So there is a very detailed information sheet on that and a form to fill out if we have. Hopefully we don't have to come to that situation, but it is an avenue where we do have some people that have some very significant skills that if they are out of the loop, that it would be a considerable problem for us. So to have that avenue in place, and all of our staff are fully vaccinated, so I think we do have the measures in place that we need, and we're trying to be as careful as we can. But as we all know, that this new strain of COVID-19 is very transmissible, so we're doing what we can for sure.
I know our workers have great benefit packages, so they're in case they have to go off sick and so on, hopefully, or full-time workers and so on, and that's all in place now, so that's good. So the same as recreation. I know Jeremy Pierce, with the gym shutting down, Jeremy got the people working there and cleaning up the gym, to work equipment, and kept them working and kept that bi-weekly check coming in, and that's the big thing that's you got to keep going. That, you know, when you start losing that bi-weekly check, the things start to rock, right?
Yep. Well, there's definitely been some measures put in place to keep everybody busy, and
Yeah,
we'll be very interested in the announcement that's coming here at the end of the week.
yeah, it was very nice of you guys doing that. It was great. I saw that. It's nice.
Any other inquiries by any member of council? Okay, if not, we'll move on to item number 19, other committees, seniors, Stratford Seniors Complex. I'll ask Deputy Mayor Clow to give his report for that committee.
Yes, we did have a meeting yesterday, and everything's pretty well good in there. One of the issues they're dealing with right now is COVID-19. There is a few people in there that are positive, and so one of the persons on the committee was Zooming with us, and so we did, Kim, and we went over all the protocol for isolation and just what's going on there, and especially with the Jerry O'Connell there, and so everybody pretty well knows what they have to do, and that is taking place. And what was really good to hear is that they are staying in their apartments, and they are calling each other, because there's some people in there that live by themselves. So they are calling every day to make sure they're okay, and if they need anything, that they certainly will get it to them by putting it at their door and knocking and leaving or whatever. So they do have a plan in place over there, and so we're keeping an eye on it, and making sure that everything is a-okay over there for them. But other than that, it was just a normal everyday what's going on there. I know they're moving snow, and they took all the decorations down and stuff, and we're very lucky to have Jerry O'Connell in there. If you could hear his report and the amount of time he spends over there just fixing things and making sure that the building is up to standards, and he's quite capable. There's not a whole lot the man can't do, and he saves us a lot of money. Otherwise, we'd have to call people in and get things done, which would probably cost a lot more. So everything is good there. We're keeping an eye on things there, and if there's any questions, I'll try to answer them, or I know Kim might.
Okay, any questions? Okay, if not, thanks for your report, and we'll move on to item 19B, Community Campus, and I'll ask Councillor Jill Burridge to give a report on that initiative.
Yeah, I'm just, sorry, my kids are on the rink in the backyard knocking on the window right now. It's great timing. I just wanted to add this, just so I can give little updates as we go along. There was a public consultation in December where the consultant put forth a community campus concept and got some feedback. There was a good crowd there. I think there was up to 150 registered, but I think at the end of the day, there was probably 84, 85 attendees, which is great. Lots of questions, positive vibes for sure. I think people were excited. Lots of questions surrounding just the school and where that project sits, and is it coming, and that kind of thing. And it is public that the province has budgeted for the school, and there actually is an RFP for design out right now for the school. So that's happening. We are gathering that feedback. We did get a little bit of feedback from the presentation we're meeting this week. Not the whole committee, just some staff. We will have a committee meeting here soon once the full report comes in from the consultant, to review and take in that feedback, consider the questions and items that were brought up for sure, and make sure that they're captured into any plans moving forward. And then we will take that report to council for adoption. We are still waiting to hear on funding. One of our priorities in our ISIP application was to service the campus. That's water, sewer, road, active transportation, and lighting. So we still are waiting on that. Yeah, so I think that's it. If there's any other questions, feel free to ask.
Any questions for Councillor Burridge? Okay, thanks very much. I think this is great. I'm really commend you for your leadership and for all the work that you're doing. I think it's moving along excellent, and it's looking very, very promising, very good. Fingers crossed that we get that funding and we're able to put all that infrastructure in, hopefully beginning in the summer, because that will really make it real for everyone to be able to see that site with the infrastructure in place.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll now move on to appointments to item number 20, appointments to the committees. And we have a resolution, and it's a human resources related. Yeah, I guess you could argue. Yeah, it is human resources related. So I will ask Chair of the Human Resources Committee, Deputy Mayor Clow, to read the resolution.
Thank you, Your Worship. CW 003-2020. Should that be 2022 or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Committee members' appointments. Whereas Council has established special committees and subcommittees to those special committees in bylaw number 33, the Stratford Committee bylaw, to advise and assist Council in its deliberations. And whereas the bylaw provides for the appointment of residents by Council to provide public input to Council in its deliberations. And whereas the Recreation, Culture and Events Committee, the Events Subcommittee, the Active Transportation Subcommittee, and the Infrastructure Committee are all in need of members. Be it resolved that Jeff Ford be appointed to the Recreation, Culture and Events Committee, that Angie MacArthur and Elaine Sequirio be appointed to the Events Subcommittee. I'm not sure I said that right. That Matthew Spadell be appointed to the Active Transportation Subcommittee, that Joe Roberts be appointed to the Safety Service Committee, and that UN Iris be appointed to the Accountability and Engagement Committee, and that Rick Richard be appointed to the Infrastructure Committee for the remainder of the council term ending November 30th, 2022. This resolution bears the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole as discussed at a meeting held January 6, 2022. So moved.
Okay, could I ask the Deputy Chair of the Human Resources Committee to second that motion?
Sure, I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Okay, any discussion?
I would just like to thank all the past members who are leaving our committees. Thank you for their service and the best of luck in the future endeavors.
Thank you. Yeah, okay, so any other comments or discussion or comments? Okay, we'll call, sorry, go ahead.
Just volunteers make great communities.
Yeah. Okay, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion carried. Okay, I seem to have lost my video here, so I'll just do it on audio.
Proclamations.
Yeah, any proclamations? If no proclamations, we'll go to other business. Any other business anyone would like to put on the table at this time? Okay, if not, we'll call for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Okay, we're now adjourned. Thank you, everyone.